Have you ever felt like your family sees you as someone who can't make decisions anymore? Like they mean well, but suddenly they're treating you like a child, correcting what you say, speaking over you, or making choices on your behalf without even asking. It's frustrating, isn't it? Maybe your kids tell you to just stay home and relax when you suggest a trip, or they assume you need help with things you've been doing for decades. They remind you to take your medicine, as if you're not the one who's been managing it all along. And when you try to speak up, they brush it off with, "We're just looking out for you." It's enough to make you wonder, when did I stop being adult in their eyes? If any of this sounds familiar, you're not alone. It happens to so many people once they hit a certain age. The moment you turn 70, or even sooner, some family members start seeing you differently. They don't do it out of malice, but their overprotectiveness or assumptions can slowly chip away at your independence and dignity. And here's the thing. If you don't set clear boundaries now, it only gets worse. That's why today, we're talking about 5 assertiveness tricks to help you regain respect and remind your family that you're still capable, still sharp, and still in charge of your own life. Now, the first thing you need to do is recognize this for what it is. It's not about you being weak or incapable. It's about perception. Your family has a certain image of what aging looks like, and unfortunately, society often reinforces the idea that aging means losing control. But that's just not true. So, how do you change that perception? You start by using your voice, literally. One of the biggest mistakes people make when they feel disrespected is responding with silence. They think, if I just let it go, they'll realize I'm fine. But silence does the opposite. It makes people assume you agree with how they're treating you. So, the first step is to speak up, and I don't mean in a defensive or angry way. The key is to be calm but firm. Imagine this. Your daughter tells you, "Mom, I don't think you should drive at night anymore." Now, maybe she's worried for your safety, but if you're still a confident driver, this can feel downright insulting. Instead of getting upset or brushing off, you say, "I appreciate your concern, but I've been driving at night for years without any issues. If I ever feel it's unsafe for me, I'll be the first to stop. Until then, I'd appreciate it if you trusted my judgment." This is what I call the acknowledge and redirect technique. You acknowledge their concern so they don't feel dismissed, but then you redirect the conversation to reinforce your independence. It works wonders because it stops arguments before they start. Now, let's take a step further. What happens when family members make decisions for you without even asking? Maybe they sign you up for things, change your schedule, or assume they know what's best. This can be incredibly frustrating because it makes you feel invisible. The trick here is to set clear expectations. Let's say your son decides to install grab bars in your bathroom without discussing it with you first. Now, maybe you were already considering it, or maybe you don't even need them yet. Either way, you want to make it clear that decisions about your life should include you. So instead of saying, "I don't need those," or "Why didn't you ask me?" which can make them defensive, you say, "I appreciate that you're thinking about my safety. In the future, I'd really like to be part of the decision-making process for things like this. That way, we can find a solution together that works best for me." Notice what this does. It doesn't reject their concern outright, but also makes it clear that you expect to be consulted. Over time, they'll start checking with you first, instead of assuming they know what's best. And that's just the beginning. Now that we started shifting their perception and making it clear that your voice matters, there's another piece of this puzzle. Your body language. Now that we started shifting their perception and making it clear that your voice matters, there's another piece to this puzzle, your body language. You see, communication isn't just about words. If your words say one thing, but your posture, facial expressions, or tone of voice say another, people pick up on that. And unfortunately, many people, without even realizing it, give off signals that make them seem unsure, hesitant, or even passive. Think about it. Have you ever tried to stand your ground, but you found yourself speaking in a softer voice? Or maybe you crossed your arms, looked away, or shrugged when you said something important. These tiny signals might seem insignificant, but they send a message. So, the next time you're asserting yourself, pay attention to how you carry yourself. Sit up straight or stand tall. Make eye contact. Keep your hands relaxed, not fidgeting or clasped together like you're nervous. And most importantly, use a strong, steady voice. Not shouting, not apologizing, just firm and confident. For example, imagine your family is discussing holiday plans and they decide without asking that you'll stay home this year because it's too much for you. You could say, "Oh, well, I guess that makes sense." Or you could sit up, smile, and say, "Actually, I'd love to come. I'll let you know if it gets to be too much, but I want to be there with all of you." See the difference? One response sounds hesitant, almost like you're asking for permission. The other is clear, confident, and leaves no room for debate. And here's another little trick. Pause. When you speak with confidence, you don't rush your words. You say what you mean and let it sit. Let's say your son insists on helping you with things you don't actually need help with, like carrying groceries or choosing what to wear. Instead of immediately saying, "Oh, no, I'm fine," which people often ignore, you can say, "I appreciate the offer, but I can do this myself." Then pause. That pause is powerful. It gives the other person a moment to realize they should respect your decision. Most people feel compelled to fill silence, and in that moment, they're more likely to say, "Oh, okay," and step back. Now, let's talk about something a little trickier. What happens when your family talks over you or doesn't take your opinion seriously? Maybe you're sharing a story at dinner, and halfway through, your grandkids start looking at their phones, or your daughter interrupts you with, "Anyway, Dad, back to what I was saying." That can be incredibly frustrating. It makes you feel like your words don't matter, like your presence is secondary. But here's the thing, you train people how to treat you. If you allow them to talk over you or dismiss what you say, they'll keep doing it. But if you set a new standard, they'll learn to respect your voice. So the next time someone interrupts you mid-sentence, don't just stop talking. Instead, hold your ground. Take a deep breath, smile, and say, "I'd like to finish what I was saying." Keep eye contact. Keep your voice steady. Most people don't even realize they're interrupting. And when you call attention to it, they'll back off. And if they don't, you simply repeat, "I'm not finished yet." And then you continue speaking as if the interruption never happened. This might feel uncomfortable at first, but once you do it a few times, something magical happens. People start listening. They start recognizing that when you speak, you expect to be heard. And this doesn't just apply to conversations. It applies to decisions, too. If your family keeps making plans without you, making choices about your health, your money, or your home, you can and should put a stop to it. The trick is to use what I call the power of the question. Instead of reacting with frustration or feeling left out, you flip the script and put the responsibility back on them. Let's say your daughter tells you, "We decided you shouldn't travel alone anymore." Instead of arguing, you respond with, "I'm curious. What makes you think I can't handle that?" Or maybe your son says, "We'll take care of everything for you." You respond with, "Why do you think I need that?" What happens next is interesting. They'll have to actually explain their reasoning, and more often than not, they'll realize their assumptions are just that, assumptions. And even if they still push their opinions, this approach shifts the conversation. It forces them to see you as an equal participant, not just someone they need to manage. Now, we've talked about using your voice, standing your ground, and commanding respect in conversations. But there's one more piece to this puzzle: how to get them to truly see you as independent again. We've talked about using your voice, standing your ground, and commanding respect in conversations. But there's one more piece to this puzzle: how to get them to truly see you as independent again. Because here's the truth. Words are powerful, but actions seal the deal. If your family has started treating you like you're fragile, the best way to change their perception is to show them, not just tell them. Think about it. If they always see you sitting on the couch, avoiding outings or hesitating before making decisions, they subconsciously reinforce the belief that you need to be taken care of. But if they see you active, making plans and confidently handling things on your own, they'll have no choice but to adjust their mindset. So let's talk about how to put this into practice. Let's say your family assumes you don't want to go out much anymore. Instead of waiting for them to invite you, start making plans yourself. Call up a friend for lunch. Take a solo trip to the bookstore, or sign up for a class you're interested in. And when they ask what you've been up to, tell them enthusiastically. Picture this. Your daughter calls and says, "Hey, Mom, do you need me to bring you groceries this week?" Instead of just saying, "No, I'm fine," you say, "Oh, thanks for asking, but I already went shopping." After that, I had coffee with a friend. We were reminiscing about old road trips. Made me want to take one again soon. That small shift makes a huge difference. It plants a seed in their minds. Mom's still doing things. Mom's still making decisions. Mom's still in control. And if they try to push back, if they say, "Oh, I just don't want you overdoing it," you can smile and reply, "I appreciate that, but trust me, I know my limits." Now, let's take this a step further. What happens when they make decisions for you without even consulting you? Maybe they schedule doctor's appointments on your behalf, arrange family events without asking if you're available, or even assume they need to handle your finances. This is where you use what I call the "I've got it" approach. For example, if your son says, "I went ahead and paid that bill for you," instead of saying, "Oh, okay," or even getting upset, you say, "I've got it covered, but I appreciate your thoughtfulness." Short, clear, no room for debate. Or if your daughter says, "We decided you should downsize to a smaller place," you respond, "I haven't decided anything yet. That's something I'll be thinking about when I feel it's time." Notice the shift? You're not being rude. You're just making it clear that the final decision is yours. And let's be honest, sometimes families don't even realize they're overstepping. They do out of love, out of habit, or just because they think it makes life easier for you. But when you gently, consistently remind them that you're still fully capable, they'll start stepping back. Now, let's address something important. What if they don't take the hint? What if, even after all of this, they still treat you like a child? That's when you need to have the talk, not a confrontation, not an argument, but a straightforward, heartfelt conversation where you lay it all out. It might sound something like this. "I know you love me. I know you want to help. But sometimes, the way you treat me makes me feel like I'm losing my independence. I need you to trust that I know what's best for me. If I need help, I promise I'll ask for it. But I also need you to respect that I'm still fully capable of making my own decisions." This kind of honesty can be uncomfortable, but it's necessary. And when you say it from a place of love, it makes an impact. At the end of the day, this isn't just about getting your family to treat you differently. It's about how you see yourself. The more you step into your confidence, the more others will follow your lead. And remember, age doesn't define ability. Independence isn't something you have to give up just because a few birthdays have passed. Now, let's wrap this all up with one final thought. What happens when family members still won't respect your boundaries? There's one last trick that ensures you're always taken seriously. Now, let's talk about the last and most important trick. The one that ensures your family takes you seriously, even if they've been stubborn about it until now. At some point, no matter how confident you are, no matter how clearly you set boundaries, there will be moments when someone in your family still insists on treating you like a child. Maybe they ignore your choices, assume they know better, or even get frustrated when you push back. So what do you do then? You show them that respect is not optional. Here's what that means. When someone repeatedly crosses a boundary, you don't just tell them it's wrong. You show them it has consequences. And the simplest way to do that is by creating distance. Now, I'm not talking about cutting ties or causing drama. I'm talking about showing through your actions that if they won't respect you, they don't get unlimited access to your time and energy. Let's say your son insists on speaking for you in social situations. Every time you're out with family or friends, he answers questions directed at you, makes decisions on your behalf, and barely lets you get a word in. Instead of getting frustrated or arguing in the moment, you try something different. The next time he invites you to an event, you politely decline. You say, "I appreciate the invite, but I think I'll sit this one out. I prefer conversations where I get to actually be part of them." It's subtle but powerful. It makes him pause and reflect. Or maybe your daughter keeps insisting you need to take it easy when you have no intention of slowing down. She cancels plans for you, assumes you don't want to go places, or tells people, "Mom's too tired for that." Instead of arguing, you prove her wrong. You make plans with friends. You go to an event on your own. You post a picture of yourself enjoying your day. And when she says, "Why didn't you tell me you were going out?" you simply say, "I didn't think I needed permission." See, when people see that you are thriving without their interference, it forces them to reevaluate their behavior. And here's the best part. It's not about being petty or try to teach them a lesson. It's about reinforcing with every action that your life is your own. Now, let's talk about something deeper. What happens when family members don't just treat you like a child, but actually make you feel like one? Because let's be honest, no matter how strong or independent you are, when the people closest to you start second-guessing you, it can shake your confidence. You might start wondering, are they right? Am I really losing control? And that's where the real battle is. It's not just about proving something to them. It's about proving it to yourself. So here's what I want you to do. Think about one thing, just one, that makes you feel capable, independent, and strong. Maybe it's something as simple as making your own travel plans, learning a new skill, or managing your finances with confidence. Whatever it is, make sure you do it consistently. Because confidence isn't built in a day. It's built in the moments where you choose to remind yourself who you are. And when your family sees that, when they see you taking charge of your life, making your own choices, setting your own boundaries, they will have no choice but to respect it. So the next time someone in your family talks over you, assumes they know what's best for you, or tries to make choices on your behalf, take a deep breath, stand tall, and remember, you are still the same strong, capable person you've always been. And that's something no one, not even people who love you, has the right to take away. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever experienced this kind of treatment from family? What did you do about it? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more tips on living life on your terms. Here's to standing your ground, speaking your mind, and living with the respect you deserve at any age.